Welcome to Narrative. My name is Veronica, and today, unfortunately, I am sick. So I wanted something easy to do, but also fun. So I decided to do another tier ranking because I enjoyed it so much last time. But today we're going to be ranking fantasy creatures. And because I love fantasy, fantasy is my whole thing. Yeah, I'm the fantasy main, whatever. I thought it could be really fun to see what I think about the different creatures because it's something that I haven't necessarily considered all that much. I just like supernatural creatures all around. So I'm very excited to see what this will look like in the end. So here we are, the whole magnificent list. I will not be engaging with the ones that I don't really know. For example, the kobold. I know the word or the name, I suppose, but I haven't engaged with any content like books or anything that where they feature all or enough for me to have an opinion on them. So I will be skipping the ones that I haven't really engaged with properly. But with that said, let's get to ranking. A Yeti. Okay, Yeti, not a lot of experience with it, and I'm not necessarily drawn to that type of content, so I'm gonna give it a C. Ooh, maybe that's too kind. Yeah, I'm gonna have to move it to D. Good start. Yeti's something that you can make fun stuff with, I'm sure. It's just not something that I'm interested in, and when I've engaged with it, it has been like, they are mostly mindless monsters, not super fun to engage with, all of that stuff. For me, I don't go out of my way looking for them. Mermaids is a B for me because of how there's a fairly limited way you can engage with mermaids. Of course, you can be more creative with it and everything. My question would be like, where's the line when you become so creative with it that it's no longer a mermaid, you know? I've always been very fascinated with mermaids and, what's in the deep and what's hiding there and like what kind of life is under there, all that stuff, which is a very interesting combo for someone who has thalassophobia. I like it in concept in my books, but not reality, there's a line. So mermaids could be really fun. Haven't read a story so far where I find them super engaging or super fun, so I'm gonna leave it at a B. Vampire, I am a sucker for vampires though. I guess it was like I was really colored by Twilight during my formative years and that whole vampire craze that came with it. I think that you can play around a lot with vampires and it's so much fun. So yes, in Hellbound, my web serial, we are moving into the arc. I'm losing words. Where we're facing or meeting vampires, and instead of just doing this one specific way of what like they're always out there being monsters and drinking blood and or this really old high society of like they have been for thousands of years the same way. I've kind of like merged a little bit of a middle ground where it's a lot of fun stuff. I don't want to spoil it, but it's really fun to talk about how you can, because they live for so long, what impact would that have on their society, on how they're behaving and expectations and all of that stuff. So that's kind of what I've been playing with in Hellbound when I'm creating the vampire society. So yes, vampires are S tier to me. I'm always down for reading like vampire stories. There's something in them that are just like tickling that part of me that is like, yes, I can read this. I just like vampires as a concept. That's all I'm saying. Banshee, I've only actually had one story where a banshee was front and center and I loved her. That story, it's Teen Wolf. Such a like bad name for what a series that becomes so good. First season is like kind of like first episode of Doctor Who. We don't talk about it. It's like not real. But from season 2 and onwards, it's just every season keeps getting better. So Netflix wrote a really shitty description about it, so I didn't watch it for years. And then my partner was like, no, let's try it together. And I love it. It is so good. I think that the character work in that series is really good. Don't watch the movie. That's trash. The series. So I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with putting Banshee on A because I've technically only watched one. So I'm gonna put it at B because I think I would like to explore more Banshee type of content. Yeah. Yeah, let's leave it at B. Fairies. I mean, like in Sword of Dalkor, the one of the like the main companion is a fairy, or so maybe I'm biased. I think you can do a lot of fun stuff with fairies, especially if you move away from this ingrained assumption that because something is small means that they are pure and sweet. Like, it's a little bit, I'm not gonna necessarily say misogynistic, but it is kind of leaning in that direction because if you compare how we assume that small fairies are like pure and like innocent and good, and how society looks at short women, and I'm talking like under 5, kind of assuming that just because they are short or small, that they are pure and innocent and like almost childlike. So I think that if you move away from that, which one, first and foremost, even if you write good, pure, innocent little fairies, be aware of this ingrained thing we have, the assumptions that we make. I think that you should still move away from the assumption that just because something is small and often white, it means that they're pure and good and innocent and all of that stuff. But I'm gonna put it in A because I do like the concept of it. It's just like really sweet. So yeah, don't fall into the trap. I am going off. This is what happens when I'm sick. I just don't have a filter anymore and my brain just goes, okay, talk about this. Succubus. Ooh, I don't have anything against succubus. I think I have something against of how they are portrayed. I think succubus could be interesting. However, I would love to see stories where a succubus, it's not just about sex. There's more things in life that is pleasurable than just sex. And I think that that would make it more interesting, and I would probably put it higher than a C if we didn't so heavily just equate succubus equals sex. I think that, I read, was it a really old like screenshot of a Tumblr post where someone was talking about how mermaids, you know how they so not mermaids, sirens, how they sing in order to tempt men off the ship kind of thing, and it's like a beautiful naked woman and all of that stuff. But they were talking about like, but sirens identify what the person they're trying to lure would is their weakness, and like what would actually lure them in. So it doesn't like it wouldn't be uniform sexy woman who sings really sweet, you know. It would be, for me, it would be a library or, you know, chai lattes and stuff. Whereas for, I think it was a asexual, she was like, they were saying something like garlic bread. So you can play around with it, and I think that applies with succubus as well. Play around with it a little bit more, have a little bit more originality in it, and I think that that could probably go up to S tier for me. I'm just a little bit like, done. Oh, like it's been over. Sorry, wait, how do you say it? It's been done and dusted. Expressions. Anyway, that's what I want to say. Move on. Orcs. Kind of the same as Yeti. Is like, I don't have anything against them. I just not gonna seek them out. I don't find them super interesting. That's about it. Sphinx. I'm gonna have to put it at A. I love sphinxes. Ever since I was a child, I've always loved sphinxes. It's difficult to explain why, but felines are like my favorites, and then having that whole thing, and then having wings and being majestic and all of that stuff, I think I don't think I've necessarily read a lot of books with Sphinx, but the creature as itself is just something I hold so dear in my heart that I have to put it up there. If you have any good stories that include sphinxi, let me know, please, because I would love to read some more books about that. Satyr. Kind of C as well. Haven't really seen a lot fun done with it, so I'm just gonna go, I don't hate it. I don't necessarily seek it out. Minotaur. Let's put it B. I'm laughing and like a little bit like awkwardly because the only time I've come across minotaurs has been in erotica, and I'm like, okay, I don't hate it. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Elves. I do like elves. I'm weak for them too. I think that they can be fun to read about because there's always this ethereal, like, holy vibe to them, and I don't hate it. And not holy and religious, but like holy and like pure energy kind of vibe. Galadriel from Lord of the Rings is always, when someone says elf, that's what pops into my head. So I like elves. I do. I know that they've been done to death. Maybe, that was the expression I was trying to define. Done to death. I know that they've been done to death, but I still like it. I still enjoy them. So I'm gonna put it at an A tier. Griffins are kind of sphinxes and griffins are kind of similar to me. Just kind of cousins, but I love it. I like the concept of it. So anything that is like you can ride and it flies, I'm like, yes. Which technically goes with succubus too, I guess. Sorry. At least I cracked myself up. Nymphs. Nymphs are kind of in the same boat as succubus for me. It's like, it's always kind of sexualized, and it's always women. Actually, hold on, I need to Google. Is nymph always a woman? Yeah, nymphs are all feminine. Okay. Right, so I stand corrected because I'm a little bit like feel a bit off with nymphs always being women and then also being very sexualized, and it's always being about them being sexy and then predatory, like men being predatory towards them, trying to, peek at them when they're like bathing without their consent and hunting them down and all of that kind of stuff. It's very uncomfortable, in my opinion. There are good stories out there, I am sure of it. If you have any, drop them down below, where that's not necessarily the case. But I would also like to see the expansion into men who are nymphs. Or I don't know if there's a word for it. Do you know? Is there a male nymph kind of creature? Man, I hadn't even thought about this. But yes, nymphs can be fun, especially I love like elemental powers, but I've been there, done that, and kind of like a little bit uncomfortable feeling to the whole thing. Anyway, troll, do not care for. I grew up with a lot of stories about trolls. In Scandinavia, they're quite common in our folklore and everything, and I'm just like, I don't really care. Giants, yeah, kind of the same actually. But giants are also a big thing here in Scandinavian folklore. So it's just like, it doesn't feel so fresh and new, I'm also struggling a little bit to see what the story would be other than, this othering of large people, tall people. I don't really know how to explain that, but I'm not really feeling it. So no. Golems can be interesting, can very much be interesting. It depends on what you do with it, right? As I said in the previous one, it always depends on what you do with it. But I think golems can be very interesting. I like the using it as a protection thing, but it doesn't always have to be this big clay thing, and being more fun with it, I think, could be a lot of interesting stuff. So I'm gonna put it in B, where I don't mind it. I'm not necessarily going to say I love it. Werewolf, it's kind of like vampire werewolf. I'm weak for them. I love it. I love writing these kind of things. It's fine. I think that there's a lot of stories out there that I have DNF'd or given like 1 or 2 stars because they just don't do anything original with it. They don't do anything really fun with it and all of that stuff. I think it's easy to fall back on the precedents that exist about vampires and werewolves and having them fight wars against each other, hate each other, they can kill each other, blah, 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 mortal enemies kind of stuff. And I'm kind of like, move on. And then, of course, you have the spicy stuff that is relying on stereotypes that is like, are you aware how misogynistic you are towards your own women characters when you're doing this thing? Yes? No? I would question you a little bit as a writer if you feel the need to put this kind of stuff in there, and even more so if you aren't aware of it. That's all I'm gonna say. But werewolves are S tier for me. I consume those kind of books. I love it. So drop your favorite werewolf book down below. Zombies. I do like zombie stories. Zombie creatures as a concept, I don't necessarily. They're disgusting. I mean, they're supposed to be. I know that. But like, ew. But I'm going to put them on A tier because I do actually enjoy a lot of zombie stories. Like World War Z. I really enjoyed that film. Ghosts. Ghosts. I'm going to put it at C. Ghosts can be very interesting, but it's also, for me, it's kind of ties into how you make magic systems work and all of that stuff. What's the limitations of ghosts, rather than just like, oh, ghosts can do whatever I wanted to because it's a plot vehicle thing. And I'm like, no, you need to have limitations on that too. Like, can they walk through walls? Do they attach to a certain area? Blah, blah, blah. I think that a lot of stories that includes ghosts can be fascinating to read. I'm just not gonna reach for them necessarily as my first choice. Goblins, I don't like them. They're small, annoying, and aggressive. So I'm gonna put it down there. I don't reach for books that are like, it's not the driving force. If they're part of a story, I'm like, yeah, okay. But I'm not gonna reach out for a story that is like, oh, this is about goblins. Like, I'm not that interested. Headless Horseman. I'm assuming that this is about more like the Four Horsemen. And I do like them. I think those kind of stories can be very interesting. And like I said, Sleepy Hollow, love that series. It's so much good. It's like fun and good. I really liked it. And then, of course, Headless Horseman is part of that story quite a lot. So I highly recommend watching that. But I'm going to put it here because I think that it could be a 50-50 if it's quite boring because they're just doing the same old thing and there's no character behind it. There's no history or anything. But if they do, I could probably put it in A tier as well. Dragons, unsurprisingly, they go in S tier. I'll refer you back to that thing that can fly, I can sit on. Nice. Dragons. I love dragons. I would literally give my life to be allowed to pet a dragon, to see a dragon in real life. I would like, there's cats and dragons. I'm good. Those are like S plus. Like, I want you to be perfectly clear or understand me here. Dragon tops werewolf and vampires all day for me. Like, dragon is like, can I create another? Add a row above. Dragon tier. Dragons. Here we go. Dragons. That is just a dragon tier. So yeah, I don't think I need to spend more time on it. You understand how much I love dragons. I'm looking to get a dragon tattoo in the future. All of that kind of stuff. Love them. Grim Reapers. Oh, I do love me some Grim Reapers. I think that they can be really fun as well. In When Home Finds Us, Lucas, the main male character, is a Grim Reaper. And I think that played with that a little bit more. So if you like Grim Reapers, you should check out When Home Finds Us. It's a witch and Grim Reaper romance. Has 2 adult scenes in it that aren't stretched out necessarily. But it's a love story about a witch and a Grim Reaper. It's very cute. And especially now coming into Christmas or like winter times, the book takes place from roughly September, October, all the way until into the new year, you know? So if you want to read along or read part of it, you should definitely start reading in the near future, because it has a really, really cute scene that everyone who has read it like loves. I'm not going to spoil it, but it is connected to Christmas, Yule times. So I don't want to spoil it, but it's so cute. But anyway, When Home Finds Us, Grim Reaper. So clearly I have a love for Grim Reapers. And I think you can do a lot of fun stuff with them. But I'm still going to put it in A, because I have read or watched a lot of stories with Grim Reapers. And it's like a little bit of a hit and miss for me. But of course, I think that mine was a hit. Anyway, check it out. Links down below. Moving on. Mummy. I love the film Mummy. I don't necessarily... I'm going to put it at C, because I do enjoy it enough to actually pick it up. These ones are like, probably will avoid it. So yeah, okay, I'm going to put Mummy here. Otherwise, I think they're kind of like overdone a little bit. Although, now that I say it, I haven't actually consumed a book with mummies for a while. So I might actually have to look up if there is any good out there, because that could be fun. That could be fun. Siren. Gonna put it alongside mermaids. I think I already did my spiel about sirens. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Frankenstein. Not a huge fan, to be honest. No shade to the actual book and everything, but the concept of piecing together like a monster or a person and everything, it doesn't appeal to me a lot, or at all, really. I think that it could be an interesting plot point to further a story, but I don't necessarily feel like the main plot point that I would be interested in, so I'm gonna put it at D. Xenomorphs. I'm a little scaredy cat, okay? I'm a little scaredy cat. So I get scared very easily, and I have a very vivid imagination. So even if it's not necessarily a super scary film, my mind just takes that and run with it, and I can't like sleep for 2 days. With that said, when it comes to like the alien versus monster or whatever, the xenomorph and everything, there is something about them that I actually like. It doesn't terrify me that way, that my mind just runs with it. It's more like a fascinated, terrified. So I'm gonna put it in A tier, because I do love the alien movies, and I just I consume them. I might need to rewatch them today. I don't know why. I'm a scaredy cat most of the time, and then Xenomorphs, I'm like, yay! I don't know why. Centaur. Kind of feel like they've been done as well. I don't feel like there's super much to do with it right now. So, and I don't really have a strong opinion on it. So I'm going to leave it at C. Cthulhu! Wow. Cthulhu. I'm going to put you at B, because I think you can do a lot of interesting stuff with it. And I love... Where do I not have... Where's my... Hold on. I like Cthulhu to the point where I made some stickers. That is Cthulhu. And I put it on everything I own, except nothing that I have standing here on my desk. I need to rectify that. But yes, so Cthulhu I think could be very interesting to read about. I think people have a tendency to overcomplicate things with Cthulhu and that whole lore. I say, while perfectly respecting and understanding that it is fucking complicated, I just feel like the stories that I've read where people are trying to embrace the Cthulhu aspect of things, or they make it more convoluted than it has to be, and so it's like a hit or miss for me. Love the concept though. Selkie. I did read a really good romance story with a Selkie and the Selkie family, and I really loved it. It was super cute. It was like a dragon and a Selkie in a contemporary setting. It was super cute. But I think that's my only time that I've really engaged with a Selkie story. But I really liked it, so I'm going to put it in B tier. Medusa. Ooh, I love the concept of Medusa, though. Yeah. I sounded like an airhead. What the hell? I like Medusa as a concept, what she stands for in her history and all of that stuff. I think you can play around with it a little bit, but I think that it's quite limited. But I also enjoy the fact that it is limited because it retains the core of a Medusa character to a certain degree. So that's why I'm saying Medusa in A tier, because I like the concept. Dryad. To be fair, haven't consumed a lot of them either. So I'm going to put it in C. Again, haven't really consumed a lot of them. I haven't consumed a lot of Dryads. I haven't consumed a lot of stories where they are heavily featured. I definitely do not think that I would reject it. Is so far I just haven't consumed enough to be able to have a like, this is why I like it or this is why I dislike it. It's just like, could read them, probably won't reach for them, or I don't have enough experience with them. I guess. Demon. Ooh, I am a weakness for demons. I do have weakness for demons. I love the concept of them. I think you can play around with them a lot and have a lot of dynamics and levels and complexities with them. So most likely, if it says it's a demon, I am more than likely to pick it up. Again, demon Rex down below, please. What does this say? Does it say a Puritan? I don't really know what that is. Harpy. B tier for me. I read a story with very good harpies representation, I guess. Not something that I'm not super familiar with harpies in general in terms of storytelling and everything, so I'm open to reading a lot more about them. But so far I've only come in contact with like one series that had them as main characters, and I really enjoyed that. Stories, not necessarily because they were harpies, but I like the story in general. So yeah, I'm gonna leave Kobold, and I think that's called a Puritan. Maybe I'll just dump them in here just so I have a complete I have a complete little list here. So that is the full list in the end. We have dragons at its top, even like its own tier, because dragons are just magnificent. And then of course you have vampires and werewolves and demons coming in at S tier, because I do consume that content and I love it. Even when the story is predictable and it's kind of like tropey and everything, I'm just like, I'm good. I read it. It's my pleasure. Okay, so picking out one A tier. In A tier, I have Fairy, Sphinx, Elf, Griffin, Zombie, Grim Reaper, Xenomorph, and Medusa. So if I was to elevate one of them that I would love to see more of, like right now, I think I would love to see more Grim Reaper stuff. And the reason for that is that I would love to see how other people's takes on Grim Reapers, because it doesn't have to be a specific religion that it's attached to. You can change the name even though the concept is similar or the same, because Grim Reapers have existed in pretty much all cultures across the globe, some version of it, and I would love to read more about the different experiences and takes and all of that stuff. I would love to see what other people's minds come up with. So if I was to hopefully raise one, it would be Grim Reaper. That's what I want to read more about right now. So with that said, thank you very much for being here. I hope you enjoyed your time. I really needed something positive and fun now that I'm sick. So thank you very much for being here. I hope you're having a good day or night or wherever you are in a time stream. And also stay hydrated and make sure to not get sick like le moi. But otherwise, I hope see you in the next one. Bye!